Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Rob Schwind. I'm the VP of Product and Integration at PTO Exchange. And what I'd like to do this morning, we're going to go through a quick slide deck to just introduce you to PTO Exchange and what Howard Brown Health is enabling on the exchange. And then we're going to go into the system itself and do a live demo of it. I think that usually helps people really understand what it is. And so I'm going to share my screen here and we'll get started. And Angela, I think you need to allow me to do that.
Yeah,
okay.
It should be good now, sorry.
There we go. Okay. So like I said, welcome everybody to PTO Exchange. And PTO Exchange is a platform that allows you to take the accrued value of your time off and to do other things with it. I know that many people find themselves in the middle of the year with accrued time that they actually can't take for time off. And so this is an opportunity for you to use that accrued value of that time and do something else with it. Now, this is a strictly voluntary benefit. There's no reason that you have to participate if you don't want to. If you are someone who normally takes all your time and is really good about going on vacation and getting out of the office, that's great. Please keep doing that. That's what it's for. But if you find that you've got extra time and you want to do something else with it, something that to help yourself or to help others, this is a platform that allows you to do that. And what Howard Brown Health, there's many different plans on the system that can be enabled for people to use. And these are the 6 that Howard Brown Health has chosen. The first one is what we call PTO giving, and it's the ability to take some of your time or the value of that time and to make a tax-deductible donation to charity with it. And just FYI, if those of you who don't know, the CARES Act of 2020, which is for COVID-19, allows every taxpayer to take a tax-deductible donation of up to $300 for charity, whether you itemize your taxes or not. And so if you make a donation here between now and the end of the year, or if you have some time during the year, just remember when you file your taxes in April, whether you're itemizing or not, you can still take up to $300 tax deduction for those donations. Next is sharing time with a coworker in need. And so this is the ability to take some of your time that you're not going to use and put it in a pool where other coworkers in need can draw from it when they meet the criteria that allows them to do that. The next one is contributing some of your time or the value of that time to your 401k. Next is reimbursing yourself for student loan payments you're making either on your own behalf or your spouse or your child, and using your paid time off to reimburse yourself for those student loan payments or tuition payments if you're paying tuition. The next one is paying for a hotel. And paying for a hotel is the ability to subsidize a vacation. So let's say you've got lots of time off and you're planning to go somewhere for a week and you want to upgrade your hotel. You can use some of your paid time off that you're not using for vacation time and upgrade that hotel or pay for that hotel using that time. And then finally is cashing out in the case of an emergency. And we all find ourselves in this situation once in a while where we could certainly use a little extra cash. And this is a way to just cash out some of that time and use it as you need it. And so let's go on here to the rules. And these are the Howard Brown Health participation rules. The first is that what we're using here is the balance. We're adding the balance of your personal time plus your vacation time. And that balance must be at least 80 hours. And 80 hours is going to be the threshold that you can't go below. So we're going to look at that in the system and you'll see how that's set up. So only those personal plus vacation time above 80 hours can be used on the system. when you use time on the system for any one of those exchanges that we just looked at, those hours are going to be deducted on your paycheck from your vacation balance. And then finally, for those of you who have lots and lots of time, we are going to cap your usage of the system at 80 hours. And so the most you can use in a given year is going to be 80 hours on the application. Okay, so this is what the PTO Exchange dashboard looks like, and we're going to look at a live demo of it in just a second, but I wanted to go over it real quick here. First, over here on the right, you'll see the PTO available. This is that personal time balance plus the vacation time balance. So this is that number that we're using kind of as the basis for everything. And then all the way over here on the right, this is the exchange available. So this is that PTO available minus those 80 hours that you cannot go below. So this tells me that I have 70 hours in this case that I can use for exchanges. And then finally, the exchange value is my hourly rate times those 70 hours. So the total value of the time I have to exchange in this case is $2,450. And then you'll see buttons here for each of those plans that we just talked about. And then finally, under recent activity, as you make exchanges on the system, those exchanges show up here in the recent activity. And we're going to look at that on the live system so you can see what happens there. Okay, so finally, and I have seen a number of you have already done this, and this is great. But to set up your account, you go to ptoexchange.com. You enter your howardbrown.org email address because we've got you set up in the system already with that. You click next, and when you do, a verification email is sent to your email address. You go there, you open that message and click that validation link, and then you create your password. Passwords need to be at least 12 characters long, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, 1 number, and 1 special character. Once you've done that, then anytime you want to go into the system, all you do is go to PTO Exchange, click login, enter your email and your password, and you're in the system. Okay, so now that's just kind of sets the groundwork and the context here. And then now what I'm going to do is just flip over to the actual live demo of the system, and we'll have a look at how it works. Okay, so now I'm in the live system itself. And once I've gone to that ptoexchange.com, I've entered my email address and I've entered my password. This is my dashboard. This is where it drops me when I come into the application. So again, you'll see in this case, in this demo environment, I have 206 hours total of personal time plus vacation time. I have 68 hours available that I can exchange. And what this shows is that we protected the first 80 hours of this 206. And if you remember, we're capping at 80 hours. That's the most you can use on the system. And you'll also notice down here in recent activity, I've already used 12 of those hours. Because I've used 12 of those hours, my exchange available is now down to 68 hours. So that's how the system manages all that time and allows you to manage the time that you're using on the system. Okay, let's go into each of the plans and have a look at how they work. The first one is our giving plan. And again, this is the ability to make donations to nonprofits. And we integrate directly with the IRS's database of registered 501c3s. And so all of the I think it's actually up to about 1.7 million nonprofits now that the IRS has in their database. You can, under this search bar, you can search for any nonprofit you wish to. We also have Howard Brown Health Center as a featured organization here. So you can donate directly to the Howard Brown Health Center if you'd like to. Otherwise, go ahead and type in the name of the nonprofit that you're interested in looking for. If I could spell United right. So I'm going to go to United Through Reading here. When you choose your nonprofit, what you'll see is if they've come into the system actually and they've filled out their profile, you'll see their mission statement, you'll see probably some pictures and those kinds of things. If they haven't yet, then you'll see this basic screen. You can also, by the way, search for a nonprofit just by typing in their EIN number, if you know that. And I should also point out that for those of you who like to donate to your church or to your local school, the IRS does not require religious organizations or schools to actually register as nonprofits. They just give them a blanket nonprofit designation. And so when you search for your local church, you may not find it in the database. If you don't, just drop us a note at support.ptoexchange.com. Let us know the name, the address, the contact information. We will contact them and get them into the database so that you can make your donations to them. Okay, there's two ways that you can donate to a nonprofit. You can just click this credit card button, pull out your personal credit card and make a straight donation to them. So that's one of the things that we allow to do in the system. It doesn't use your paid time off at all. You're just using a credit card and making a donation to your favorite nonprofit. But we're going to use our paid time off here. And when I click that button, what you see is that I have my 68 hours that are available to me, and it's asking me to enter the number of hours that I want to donate, in this case to United Through Reading. So I'm going to say I want to donate a day of my time, or 8 hours. When I do that, you'll notice that now my exchange available has gone down to 60 hours. If, let's say I wanted to give them, everything I can, and I think I've got 80 hours, I put in 80 hours, it's going to stop me. So I can never go above what I have available. Anyway, I'm going to go back. I'm going to make it 8 hours. You'll notice that my 8 hours times my pay rate is $280. And so what's going to happen here is 8 hours is going to get deducted from my vacation balance when this goes to payroll. Now, you'll also notice this thing called the service charge, and this is on most of our plans. The service charge is required by the IRS because paid time off is deferred compensation, and they require that if you're going to use deferred compensation in a manner like this, that you pay a service charge to do so. We at PTO Exchange are working with the Congressional Committee on Taxation to try and get them to stop making that happen. But in the meantime, as long as it's a law and we have to be in compliance, we have to do that. But the good news is that what's going to happen is you are only going to be taxed on the $259. This is taxable income. Your paid time off is taxable income. And so what's going to happen here is when this goes to payroll, 8 hours is going to be deducted from your vacation time. $259 is going to be added to your paycheck. It's going to be taxed. And then a deduction of $259 is going to come out, and we're going to send that to your nonprofit. Now, a couple of things you can do here. You can leave this include my information button clicked. If you do that, then when we send your donation to the nonprofit, we will also send them your name and your address so that they can send you a thank you note and or a receipt. If you would rather not have your name and address go to the nonprofit, you can click this anonymous button, and when we send your donation, we will simply say that an anonymous donor from Howard Brown Health is donating $259. And so you can remain anonymous to the nonprofit, or you can include your contact information, either way. If you have special notes that you want the nonprofit to know, for example, if they're running a special campaign, let's say this is the Humane Society, and they're running a campaign to raise money to buy pet food, you can put in your notes here, please use this donation for your pet food campaign. And when we send this donation to the nonprofit, we will also send them those notes so that they know exactly how you would like your donation to be spent. excuse me. Now, finally, there's a comment area here, and you'll notice this on many of the forms. Comments that you type in the comment area come directly to us at PTO Exchange, and so that we can act on them and do whatever it is that you're asking us to do. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to the terms of service and submit this. And when I do, I get this donation receipt. I can either print it directly off the form here. It also got sent to me in an email, so I've got it in an email. This is a valid receipt that you can use to file your taxes at the end of the year. So you don't need to wait for one from the nonprofit. This shows that my donation happened today and that it went to the United Through Reading with their EIN. This is a valid tax deductible receipt for you. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the dashboard. You'll see that those 8 hours have now been reduced out of my exchange available. You'll also see that I now have a giving activity, a giving transaction that was created down here, and it's in an approved status. Now let's talk just quickly here about this recent activity. Any one of these transactions, all of them, I should say, will always have a status. When you first create the transaction, that status is going to be in an approved state. And what that means is that it's in an approved state. You've made the transaction and it's sitting now in the PTO Exchange application. It has not yet been sent to payroll. Because it has not yet been sent to payroll, I can click on it and I can say, I can come back tomorrow and say, you know what? Yeah, I was feeling generous yesterday. I'm not so generous today. I really just want to cancel this transaction. I can hit the cancel button and confirm it. And now when I go back to the dashboard, you'll see those 8 hours are back into my exchange available, and that transaction is now no longer there. So as long as it has not yet been sent to payroll, I can cancel the transaction. Once it's been sent to payroll, the status changes to paid. A paid transaction can no longer be canceled because that transaction has now been sent to payroll and is going to appear or has appeared already on your paycheck. So that's the important information to know about these transactions on your recent activity area. Okay, so I am going to skip sharing.
Hey, Rob.
And yes.
Sorry, we have a couple of questions in the chat, and since our clinic's open at 10, I just want to address some of those in case folks have to hop off.
Okay.
One question about somebody not being able to having issues with their password continually getting rejected. Is there a particular person they should reach out to if they're having that issue?
They should just send an email to support@ptoexchange.com.
Okay, excellent. And then we also have a question that asks, can you only use vacation hours for the exchange, all exchanges? And I believe that's correct. We can only use vacation hours.
Yes, exchanges come out of your vacation balance.
So personal will contribute to your total amount, but it will come out of vacation.
Right. So we have that threshold of 80 hours that has to stay protected. And that's so that you always have 80 hours in your bank that you can use if you find yourself in a situation where you absolutely need it. That 80 hours is made up of your personal time plus vacation time. And so that's why it's protected and you can't use it. Anything above those 80 hours is all vacation time, and that's the time that gets used in the application.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Rob.
Yep. So I'm gonna come back to sharing here because it's a little different than the others. But so let's go on to retirement. And retirement is that ability to contribute to your 401k. And part of the information that we get from your payroll system each pay period is how much you've already contributed for the year, as well as who's eligible and who's not eligible for 401k. If you're actually not participating or not eligible for the 401k, you won't see that retirement button. So if you log in and you don't see it, it means you're not eligible. Now, if you're not eligible and you think you should be, then we need to know about it. Send us a note at support help.ptoexchange.com or at ptoexchange.com. So again, I'm going to, and the reason that we get your year-to-date contributions is because we don't let you contribute. Even if you have hours to spend, we do not let you contribute above your federal your federal contribution limit for 401ks. And so here I'm going to say I want 4 hours to go to my 401k. Again, there's that IRS required service charge. So in this case, $129.50 is going to get deposited into my 401k. It will show up as earnings on my paycheck. It will get taxed appropriately because 401k is not taxable for federal withholding, but it is taxable for FICA and for Medicare. And then once that has been determined, then the $129.50 will come back out as a pre-tax contribution that goes to my 401k along with my regular 401k contribution. So I'm going to say yes, I'm going to submit. And now I've just got an email that said it was confirmation that you just submitted a 401k transaction. I'm going to go back to the dashboard. You'll see it's in my recent activity list. Okay, education. This is the ability to reimburse yourself for student loan payments and for tuition payments. So I'm going to choose the reason being my student loan. I made a payment to my student loan or to my child's student loan back on the 7th. I made it for $200. I paid it to Nelnet. And in this case, I need to also then attach the receipt to show that I made that payment. And when I do that, I agree and I submit. And what the system does is the system says, okay, for you to get reimbursed $200, it's going to take up to 8 hours for you to exchange. So again, it's capping me at 8 hours for this reimbursement. If I try and do 9, it tells me you can't do 9. I'm going to do 8. It does allow me to go lower. If I just want partial reimbursement, I can go lower than 8, but 8 is the maximum that I can do. Again, the IRS required service charge. So $259 is going to go to my payroll. It's going to go into my earnings and be taxed. And we're estimating your taxes. And after those taxes have been paid, we're expecting that $200 is going to fall to your net pay to reimburse you for that student loan payment. And I'll hit submit. And now that'll be submitted. I now have a receipt that went to my email, and I have my student loan payment in my list here. Now, travel is a little different. In travel, we have an integration with Priceline, and that's where we get all of our travel products from. What you do here is you come in, you enter the city that you're looking for or the place that you're looking for. You enter your dates, how many rooms you want, how many guests there are. You do a search. And when you do that, it's going to come back and it's going to list for you all of the hotels in that city or in that area that meet your criteria. You'll click on the hotel. You'll pick your room just like you do in any other travel product. In this case, though, you will use your personal credit card to purchase the hotel. And when you do, that itinerary will come back into the PTO Exchange platform. And just like that student loan reimbursement, it will then allow you to reimburse yourself your paid time off for that hotel stay. And once you get that reimbursement, you just send it to your credit card to pay off that hotel. Now, the demo system that I'm on here is not linked live to the Priceline application, and that's why this is blank here. But if we were live, if we were on the live production product, you would see a list of hotels here and so forth, and you could make that exchange. Okay, and then the next one here is cash out. And cash out at this time is simply how many hours do you want to cash out? I'm going to cash out 10 hours, and you'll see the IRS required service charge. So what's going to happen here is my vacation balance is going to be reduced by 10 hours, and $323.75 is going to go into my paycheck. It'll be taxed, and then whatever's left after taxes is just going to add to my net pay. So that's how you cash yourself out. Now, throughout the year, the Howard Brown Health will have an opportunity and may do so to make tweaks to these plans and change them a little bit. And so you may see different changes to them as the year progresses. So just to make sure everyone understands that. So now finally, the sharing plan. And the sharing plan is that ability to take some of your time off and put it in a pool so that other coworkers could use it if they need it. So if I want to make a donation to a sharing pool, I click this Share with Coworker button. And when I do, it asks me how many hours I want to donate. In this case, I'm going to donate 6 hours into the sharing pool. We have a sharing pool called the Parent and Caregiving Bank. It's throughout the year. Again, if there are things like a federal disaster happens and we want to spin up a bank for, especially for time to go out for federal disasters, we can do that. At this point, this is the sharing bank that we have. Again, I can leave an optional comment if I want. I simply click agree and submit. And what's going to happen here, I get my email confirmation. When payroll runs, the only thing that's going to happen to me as a donor is those 6 hours are going to be deducted from my vacation balance. This is one area where the IRS does allow us a little bit of leeway. And they say that if you're making a donation to a sharing bank like this, then the donor does not have to recognize the income and does not have to pay taxes on it. And so the only thing that happens as a donor is those 6 hours are reduced from your vacation bank. Now, what really happened, or I should say what happened in the background, is your 6 hours got reduced from your vacation bank. The value of your 6 hours, so those 6 hours times your pay rate, is the value that went into the sharing pool. And so let's say that was $400. So $400 has now been added to the sharing pool. And as a coworker who is in need, maybe my spouse is in the hospital and I need extra time off that I don't have, I can come in here, I can request time, say I need a week off that I don't have, and I need it to care for my spouse. Now, the documentation here is a request form that you will get from Howard Brown Health. And what you do is you fill out that request form and you submit it here. So you upload that request form and a copy of it, a scan of it, into the system here. You say, I agree, and I submit. And when you do, you get an email back that says you have requested 40 hours from the sharing pool. Now, that doesn't mean you've been approved for it. It just means that you've requested it. So what has also happened here is that an email went to the sharing pool administrator that says, Rob has requested time out of the sharing pool. And you'll see here that at my pay rate, 40 hours is $1,400. And so basically what the administrator is going to do is first look at your documentation that you submitted and make sure that you meet the criteria for getting time out of the sharing pool. And if you do, the next step they're going to do is look at the sharing pool and say, is there $1,400 in the sharing pool that we can distribute? If there is, then they will distribute 40 hours to you. So on your paycheck, what you'll see is 40 hours being added to your balance. And once that's added to your balance, then you can use it for your time off. And again, what we're doing here is we're following the IRS compliance guidelines that say when someone receives time from a sharing pool, it must be received in hours. It cannot be received in cash. And so those are just some of the things that we're managing in the background here to make sure that we're always in compliance with IRS regulations and that we're managing the sharing pool properly. Now, one of the questions that usually comes up here is, well, can I designate someone to get my time? And again, that's an IRS regulation that says you cannot do that. It's something called the assignment of income doctrine with the IRS, and what that means is you cannot avoid paying taxes on income by assigning it to someone else. And so if you directly say my time needs to go to this other person, then you have to recognize it and pay taxes on it first, and then they will have to recognize it and pay taxes on it when they receive it. And we don't want that to happen. And so what you're doing is you're just donating to the pool, and then the administrator is adjudicating requests coming out of the pool and assigning that time to the other person. So that's how the sharing pools work. Okay, and so we've gone through the.
Rob? I'm sorry.
Yes. No, you're fine, Frankie.
Just in case folks, to answer some kind of internal questions, the sick bank is still operational. The sick bank will continue to be operational because PTO Exchange doesn't deal with sick time at all. This won't affect the sick bank and the policy that governs the sick bank. This is separate. And right now, the only like sharing bank that's operational in PTO Exchange, so you'd be donating vacation time to this, is that parents and caregiver bank, which is a new benefit. So if you have questions about that, you can reach out to Angela or Aaron or myself, or there is a procedure listed on the hub that talks about, you know, who's eligible to request hours from that particular resource that's available. But that was produced in response to a lot of feedback from folks that are parents or have caregiving responsibilities. And we know that this particular year has been particularly challenging for some of those folks. So thanks, that's it. Okay, so just a couple of other just housekeeping things. Again, always look at your recent activity. Anything that's just approved in an approved state, you can cancel because that has not been sent to payroll yet. Anything that's in a paid state has been sent to payroll. This sharing request here is just in a submitted state because in that particular case, we've submitted it, but it has not been approved by the sharing plan adjudicator yet. So I just wanted to point that out, why the different statuses here. Next, as an employee, the vast majority of you will not see this administration link here. Only administrators of the system see that. You will simply see the dashboard or the need help link. At any time, you can click dashboard and you'll come back to the dashboard. And then finally, if you need help, you can click this need help link. There are a lot of FAQs there that just talk about the plans and what they are. There's also a link where you can submit a support request. So this is a different link than just support@ptoexchange.com. This is actually a support ticket that goes into our ticket system. And so you can also submit requests that way as well. The other thing is over here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see your name. You'll see this little caret drop down. When you click it, you'll see the things that you can do, open the terms, privacy settings, your personal settings, and this is also where you come to sign out of the system. Also, you can just close your browser and that signs you out as well. And then finally, there's just one other thing here is we do have a timeout on the system that's set for Howard Brown Health for 30 minutes. So if you log in and you click around and you're looking at things and then you walk away saying go to lunch, as soon as there has been no activity for 30 minutes, the system will automatically sign you out. That's just a security function to make sure that it doesn't just sit there and stay open for anybody walking by to come in and do something on your behalf. So that is the system. That's the new benefit. Again, it's a strictly and totally voluntary benefit. There's no requirement that anyone participates or anyone does anything. This is just the ability for you to take some of that accrued paid time off that you aren't going to be able to use for whatever reason and do something else with it, either from a community service perspective, giving it to a nonprofit, sharing it with coworkers, putting it into your 401k, helping defer that or defray the cost of your student loan or tuition payments, subsidize your travel, or just simply cash out because you need some extra cash. Okay,
And I'm going to stop sharing at this point and open it up for other questions if anyone has questions. Yep.
Yeah, what kind of questions do we have? Any?
Real quick, I also want to add that to help reduce kind of like the burden on payroll, not all exchange options will be available all year round. So all exchange options will be available during specific cash out windows. That first cash out window was yesterday through the 31st. So if you want to, take advantage of this benefit, or one of your staff, I know there are a couple of managers in here want to take advantage of this benefit, make sure to do so before the 31st. All year round, the emergency cash option and the parent and caregivers sharing bank will be open. So if somebody does have like an emergency cash need, they can come in and cash out. If they want to share that or request some time out, they can do that. But not all benefits will be open all year round. We do expect to announce some additional cash out windows, but as this is like a new process for payroll, we're going to get through this first one, and then we'll probably announce a schedule for those kind of open cash out windows. And then again, if you do submit in this initial cash out window, you will get paid out on the 15th of January. So just, it's kind of like payroll where you submit that payroll, it's going to hit that paycheck following. So just so that folks know when they're actually going to kind of receive that additional money, or if they, or how that's going to impact their taxes potentially. I know some folks have already taken advantage of this and are cashing out, a good sum of the and so that might impact their tax burden, and that's something to account. This will actually impact next year, not this year.
Okay.
Right.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Rob, I think we'll schedule another one for Tuesday of next week if that works for you, so we can have another session.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for
fine.
joining this morning. Thank you.
Yep.